Fort Collins is getting rid of its flock surveillance cameras. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Kyle Clark. City Council in Fort Collins made the decision tonight. Follows a similar move by Denver back in February. 9 News anchor Phil Lipoff is along with what led up to Fort Collins' decision. Phil?
So the vote to not only not renew, but to end the contract early was approved by council members, as you say, 6-1 tonight. The decision comes after months of discussion, heated at times, with Fort Collins police and community members. Tonight, police who wanted to keep the cameras proposed shortening how long they can actually keep the data, but the opposition was too strong. City council members in favor of canceling the contract cited the #1 criticism of those cameras: privacy concerns.
A shorter retention period makes the system somewhat less risky, but it does not make it a different kind of system. So we are still building a network that passively records the movements of every vehicle in Fort Collins. And I think for me, that is a meaningful line to cross. And I'm not sure that we fully reckoned with it.
And so they're not going to cross that line anymore. Fort Collins now joins Denver in deciding to take down the flock cameras. Denver is replacing them with cameras made by Axon. Fort Collins police say the removal of those cameras now might take a while, but data access can be shut down immediately. Kim?
Thanks, Phil. If you thought it was hot out there today, just wait. You got more tomorrow, hotter. We're forecasting our highest temperature of the year so far. And as the temperatures increase, so will fire danger. The National Weather Service is warning of critical fire weather conditions in the mountains and the foothills. It seems early, Kathy, but
I know.
It's awfully hot.
I know. And apparently some people like it hot, but it's still springtime, darn it. This is the last week of spring. So this is warm for the last week of spring. Before we get to that, look at the sunset tonight. We're being flooded with beautiful pictures from the color in the sky tonight. This one from Amy in Fort Collins, and still really nice in Denver tonight with that moon over the city. All right, 93 today. That's plenty warm, right? That is the warmest day of the year so far. Tomorrow we're going warmer. The record is 100. We'll call for a forecast high of 96, but many areas of southeastern Colorado still in the 70s. This hour will be in the triple digits tomorrow. Humidity values will come down. The wind is going to increase. The temperatures will increase. All the factors coming together for critical fire weather. Fire weather warnings out for half the state. Denver not included yet. That may change tomorrow. And so we're looking at the temperatures trending incredibly mild overnight tonight. 60s for lows. We've got that critical fire weather and red flag warnings and potential record high temperatures, but we also have a cool front on the way. We'll talk about what that means for your Father's Day weekend coming up.
About an hour ago, leaders in Erie decided not to sell off mineral rights to an oil and gas operator for a new drilling project.
The proposal had faced pushback from a lot of people who live there. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause joins us now from Erie with more on the vote that came down tonight. Rachel.
Yeah, the vote was 3-3. The town's council split on whether or not they should sell their because of a state law that took effect last year. It prevents operators from drilling into oil and gas that's owned by municipalities, and Erie has the mineral rights to the Draco well site, giving them a say in the matter. And at tonight's council meeting, residents wanted to make sure council members knew where they stood on the matter. Erie town leaders say they were first approached last year by Civitas Resources, which later merged with SM Energy in hopes of acquiring Erie's mineral rights within the Draco oil and gas project. The Colorado Energy and Carbon Management Commission had already approved the drilling area. Town's Mayor Andrew Moore says they brought on a consultant who was the chief operating officer from Civitas as a consultant to help them on a plan for mineral rights. That consultant put together a plan for selling Erie's mineral rights, the only plan presented to the town that would partner with his former company. Mayor says he didn't see a problem with that, but residents have been raising concerns about the plan's timeline, why no other companies were considered, and concerns over the use of executive sessions to make towns' decisions, and called for this deal to halt or be slowed down.
What's the damn rush? And don't we get a voice? Because everybody except for 2 people tonight have spoken against this. Why is that? And why are we pushing forward at warp speed?
I'm not at all opposed to letting the public decide these things. The big thing tonight was that for that to have even been a possibility, this had to have passed tonight. So that option is pretty much dead at this point.
That was Mayor Pro Tem Brandon Bell. He says for Erie to get a say in getting the abandoned well sites cleared up, any new revenue, they needed this deal and they needed things to move forward. Other council members say this is the right thing, this vote failing, the right thing for the town and the right thing to protect its residents. Again, that measure failed in a 3-3 vote. Reporting live in Erie, Rachel Krause, 9 News.
A man faces charges stemming from bomb threats made at Boulder's main library. The city closed the library, evacuated the place this afternoon as they investigated a suspicious package. Bomb squad was called in and confirmed it wasn't a threat. Police arrested someone. They haven't provided any more details on the arrest. The library will open tomorrow as usual.
A judge has dismissed the criminal mischief charge against the estranged girlfriend of Broncos linebacker Jonathan Cooper. The decision came just days after more serious charges were brought against Cooper. He and his girlfriend got into an argument June 4th. According to police documents, she admitted to throwing his phone across a room. He admitted to grabbing hers and biting it, cracking the screen. Initially, both were charged with criminal mischief. A follow-up investigation led to much more serious charges being filed against Cooper, including an assault count that alleges he strangled her. Then he was accused of harassing her by sending multiple text messages, calling her, and showing up at her home. The case against Cooper's girlfriend was sealed when the charge against her was dismissed, so we can't shed much light as to what led to that decision.
The Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office is investigating a construction worker's death at the Denver Broncos' new training facility. They say the man died after he was found unresponsive in what deputies are calling a confined ceiling area. This happened at the site in Centennial last night. The man's cause of death is under investigation. The construction company says work at the site has been suspended. They're offering counseling and support to other workers.
The Anti-Defamation League has filed a federal civil rights complaint against Boulder Valley School District. The complaint alleges a Jewish student at Southern Hills Middle School faced repeated anti-Semitic harassment, threats, and a physical assault, while district officials failed to adequately intervene.
And to be clear, these were not one-off incidents, right? There was a pattern and escalation of anti-Semitic harassment and discrimination that the school did not address thoroughly.
ADL is asking the U.S. Department of Education to investigate whether the district violated federal civil rights law and to require additional training and reporting procedures. A spokesperson for Boulder Valley Schools said they don't comment on ongoing legal matters, but take all actions of discrimination and harassment seriously and continue to focus on improvements to our policies, reporting systems, practices, and educational efforts, all with the goal of ensuring every student feels safe, welcomed, and a strong sense of belonging. The state Supreme Court ordered Children's Hospital Colorado to resume gender-affirming care for minors, but their medical providers now say they won't do it. Patients received a letter from the medical staff yesterday saying they were, quote, each individually forced to make a very difficult decision. The providers said they feared federal action could prevent them from caring for any patients in the future. According to children's healthcare workers came to that decision after speaking to their own outside counsel. The attorney representing the patients who lost gender-affirming care calls this latest development shameful.
These are children's lives at stake. The hospital needs to stop playing games. These are the board of directors and administrators who think that it's just legal maneuvering, and it's really absolutely appalling.
Children's Hospital Colorado says they do not employ the medical providers that offered this care. They work for the CU Anschutz School of Medicine. In a statement today, the hospital said in part that this is a complex situation with no easy answers, and they recognize how difficult and frustrating this has been for patients and families.
Unaffiliated voters are the least likely Coloradans to cast a ballot in the upcoming June primary. A nonpartisan group is working to change that. Colorado Informed is targeting roughly 6,000 unaffiliated voters across 2 state house districts near Longmont and Colorado Springs with direct mail. The effort focuses on voters who have a record of voting in general elections but skipping primaries. Unaffiliated voters make up the largest registered voting group in Colorado, but only 17% participate in primary elections.
The majority of folks are unaffiliated, and full disclosure, I'm an unaffiliated voter. I want my politicians to have my interests at heart, and to do that, I have to show up and show them that I care about my voice being heard in the primary.
There are a lot of theories about why unaffiliated voters don't vote as often, one theory being that they simply don't know they can vote in Colorado's primaries.